tēnā rā koutou e te iwi, e te wānau, nau mai e rarau ki tēnei pāpāotanga matawara i tēnei ata. Kei konei, ko Kumanuwhiri, ko Kutuākana, rā, ko Jamie Tuuta rāu, ko Liana Poutu. Ko te kaupapa matua i te rānei, kei te kōrero te tukura, mō tō tātou taueke maunga. Kei te kōrero i te āhuatanga o ngā uriuringa, o ngā kōrero katoa, e hāngai puana ki tō tātou taueke maunga, a koro Taranaki. Nō reira, ko aku mihi ki koutou e te iwi, kua are mai nei, kua hono mai nei ki te mātakitaki, ki te wakarongo, ki ngā kōrero o te wā. Me aku mihi nui ki kōrua tahi. Tēnā kōrua, Jamie, Liana, e mihi ana ki a kōrua.
Tēnā koe kei te tuaine, tēnā rā tātou e te iwi e wakarongo mai ana, ki tēnei pūrongo me ngā kōrero ka whakatakotoria e māua ko taku tuaine a Liana, koe no e koana te ngākau kua whai wā tātou ki te wakatakoto i henei kōrero mo tō tātou tupuna.
Tēnā koe kei te tungani, Jamie. Tēnā koe, Liana, ata mārie ki a koe te tuakana.
Ana ata mārie, tautuku ana i ngā mihi, kua kōrero ngā kōrero, nā reira, kei konei māua ko Jamie kia whakamārama atu ki a koutou me pēhia i nei, mō ngā whakataunga o te maunga, nā reira, kei a māua e tehi o ngā kōrero, o ngā updates me ki. Nā reira, tērā pēr me timata i a koe, Jamie.
Ai, tēnā koe.
Nō reira, ko te take o tēnei pānuitanga, he whakamohiu atu ki a koutou katoa ngā uri o tō tātou taueke, kua tatū ngā mahi wainganui a mātou ko te karaune e pāna ki tō tātou tupuna. So really the purpose of coming on Te Korimako this morning is to update you all on progress to date regarding Maunga negotiations. Many of you will be aware that this round of negotiations commenced with the Crown way back at the end of 2016. And the process was triggered by our whanaunga, that iwi of ours, Tam, Ngāti Maru, securing a mandate to enter into negotiations. And what that provided was the opportunity for our 8 iwi to come together to enter into negotiations collectively. He mata pono takapau kōrero, and on the 14th of March 2017, so as of last week, it's been 6 years since we commenced this process. And so really what we want to do today is to let you all know that we've been working through the various stages of the process in terms of the deed of agreement, which we've called Te Ruku Pūtake Rongo. And we've got to a point in time now where we have agreed all outstanding matters with the Minister, and we've got to move to the next phase to initial the deed of settlement. And we will be looking to initial the deed of settlement on Friday the 31st of March. And this initialing ceremony will be held at Aotearoa Marae, hosted by our Ngā Ruahine whānau. And we'll talk a little bit about what the initialing of the deed means, and also want to put a pānui out there that we will be broadcasting a presentation from the negotiations team on Te Korimako on Sunday evening. But I might hand over to my tuahine Liana to talk about the initialing process.
Ka pai. I te tuatahi, ka tika me tuku whakaaro, tuku mihi ki tō tātou nei whaine a tihi, Noble. Tērā te take e haere ana, titihi o ngā take e haere ana mātou ki Aotearoa mo te Waitohungia. Kia whakahonore i aia, kia whakanui me ki i aia me tana tautoko, tana mahi i wainganui e nei whakataunga mo te maunga. So just acknowledging Auntie Tihi, Daisy Noble. She was a part of our negotiating team at the beginning of this process. And this is the first time we've had a ceremony for the maunga since she passed. And so one of the reasons we're heading down to Ngā Ruahine is to honour her and the mahi that she undertook as a part of this process. So what the initialing process means is that we as negotiators have reached a point where we don't think we can go any further with the Crown. but also that we are satisfied that we have got some redress mechanisms. We've been able to negotiate some redress mechanisms that we think put us in a better position to look after our tupuna and to have them recognised and supported in the way that they need to be. And so the negotiations process has been a long one. Jamie talked about the fact it's been 6 years. I was hapu with my pepe when we signed the terms of negotiation. She turned 6 in 3 months' time. So it's been a long time coming. But what the initialing process triggers is the ability for us to go out to our people with the full agreement and the draft legislation to basically for our whānau to vote in support. We hope that they support because we think that it's a good, the redress package we've negotiated is a good one. And so our whānau will get an opportunity to have a vote on that. So initialing just means that we've reached agreement with the Crown on what the package looks like, and we can now take it out to our people to vote on. Once we do that ratification process, then the results will come in and the ministers will determine whether there is enough support for the package or not, and then we'll proceed to a formal signing of the agreement, and then following that, introduction of legislation. So we, in Taranaki, we're familiar with these processes. We've all been through our individual iwi settlements. And so this is no different in terms of that vote process. I think the key difference will be that we are undertaking a vote across the 8 iwi rather than 1 iwi. So that process will look a bit different. I guess some of the context around the ratification, it's really hard with our 8 separate iwi databases and all the privacy rules that go with managing that to consolidate it all into one, into one kind of central database. So what we're going to do is manage those through an independent returning officer, but that means if you are registered with more than 1 iwi, you will get more than 1 vote on these proposals. But the proposals will be done under, the voting, will be done under each of those iwi. So at the end of the vote process, we'll have iwi results in terms of how each iwi has voted in terms of supporting the proposal or not, as the case may be. So there's still a long process to go. Some people have asked, can we get, how can we get the information to understand it? So key thing is this Sunday, live on Te Kore Mako, we will get the pānui out after this. We're going to do a full update presentation of the package and what we will be initialing next Friday. Friday next week. And then when we go to initial, once we've initialed, everybody will have access to the full deed of agreement for the redress package, as well as a copy of the draft legislation. So we will be conducting a series of hui around the motu, 14 hui in total, kanohi ki te kanohi, and 5 of those 5 hui in addition to that online in this kind of platform. So a lot of mahi to go, but we really wanted to give our whānau a heads up that we have reached that point. The timeframes for initialing are a little bit tight at this point, and that's really due to Crown, the Minister's availability, but also we want to kick off the process because we've got a general election coming later this year, so we want to give us the best chance of having the legislation introduced before the general election. That's not the only driver, but certainly it's something to factor in. So, koira āku, he korero anō ai, Jamie?
O atu I te karangatu ki hātātau uri o tō tātou tau eke maunga. Kia piri mai rā koutou hei te rātapu, ki te whakarongo ki ngā kōrero e pāna ki tēnei kātū kaupapa. Me te tuku I ho koutou pātai. So just really want to encourage our whānau. I know we've had a number of Zoom hui with individual iwi, but really Sunday is an opportunity for us to share again all of the progress that has been made. And I think acknowledging also that previously we have had live updates on Te Korimako where we've worked through the presentation, but really just want to make sure that we give all of our whānau the opportunity to get a line of sight of where we've landed in negotiations to date. I think Liana, kei te kua ha mawene ngākau, ha mātou ngākau. I think we're very pleased and comfortable in where we've landed in terms of the agreement to date. And I think, those of you that aren't familiar with where we've landed and haven't followed the progress, please join us on Sunday. And we're also going to be putting out a pānui for the initialing next week at Aotearoa. So keep an eye out on the social media channels of all of our iwi and Te Korimako, and you'll have further information relating to that. The other key point, whānau, is we're going to be going live on Friday the 31st. Te Korimako is going to be in the whare nui at Aotearoa, and we'll be broadcasting the pōhiri and the ceremony live. So those of our whānau that aren't able to attend in person, noting that this is just the first step before the big day, where we will hopefully sign the deed, but there'll be an opportunity for those of our whānau throughout the motu and overseas to be able to join us on Friday next week.
Fabulous. Tēnā rawa tū korua. I was actually going to ask you if there was an opportunity for our whānau to attend the initialing ceremony that will happen for the agreement. But since you said you already wrapped it up, korua tahi, beautiful kōrero. We're just informing everybody that you can tune in this coming Sunday for a more in-depth update in terms of the Maunga negotiations. But I think you've both just, really superbly shared with us where we're at right now, which is positive, indicative also of Te Maramataka Māori, Te Rānei, which is Mutu Whenua. All good things must come to an end. So it sounds like it's been a really good journey in terms of the Maunga negotiations. So it's all hāngai. E mihi ana ki a korua. Are there any last comments that you'd both like to make?
Wē noi kei taku tua ine, mihi ki a koe, mihi ki te Korimako, mihi ki tō tātou iwi hurirau nei tō tātou tupuna. Me te kōrero, koe ara te pauhere i ngā waka, te pauhere i ngā iwi, te pauhere i tēnei kaupapa, ko te kaupapa nei, he kaupapa ora no reira tēnā rā tātou.
Tēnā koe.
Tautoko rawatia. Ngā mei.
Tēnā rawa tū korua. Nō reira e te iwi, koe rā, kua rongo rā koutou i ngā kōrero, Jamie Rāwatai ko Liana i te rangi nei. Beautiful. Have a fabulous day e te iwi, and we look forward to catching up with both of you again this coming Sunday. Ngā mihi o te wā.
Nā kuita.